All right, back to the lake. It is June 19th or Juneteenth, the new holiday. So yeah, we're here today, tomorrow, and Saturday. So the lake looks great. It's pretty close to butter. So we're gonna go out there and see if we can get some good shred sets in. The girls are sitting here waiting to go into water.
No.
Hey Ellery, do you like the boat? Boat? You say boat? You like going on the boat?
Yeah.
Alright. Alright, here we go. Alright, we got 74 water temp. That's pretty good. I might have to skin it for my wakeboard sesh. I don't know. Just dip the girls' toes in the water. I think they liked it. So we'll get out there and get our set going. Alright, just got done with some sets. Got the fam hanging out here. I'm about to have lunch, about to get off the water, but one of the things I want to show you on this new boat is they did a little redesign on the back, so I'll show you here. You can kind of see, first of all, the transom's walk-through is a little higher, which might be hard to tell, but they also put this little catch right here. And I think that was specifically to help with the water coming through the transom when you stop, fully loaded. And we've already tested it, and I'll say that it helps, but it doesn't fully stop it. So I'm going to give you an example here. Point it down here so we can see. You came all the way up. You came all the way up in here. So, alright. So, as you can see, it did not cure the problem. At least when you're wakeboard speed, and then you just full shut off, which is what's ideal for driving and keeping the lake calm and from waves going down your line and stuff like that. You want to be able to just go to neutral right away, and then the wave, that makes it to where you keep the boat straight, and the waves, your own wakes, kind of pass you and disperse out to the sides, as opposed to having to turn it and throw a wave down your lane or anything like that, which is what we've had to do for a while. Anyways, we're gonna do that one more time, just because Wakely wants to try it, and also let's just show you a little bit different. Like, I'll try to do something a little different to minimize it. Alright, so that was where I did, I slowed down a little slower as opposed to going right to neutral, and I just gave it a little tap of the throttle. So it definitely works better, because even when we did that on the last boat, it would let a lot in. But Wakely wants me to just douse the boat again, so we're going to go full on and get a little bit better view of the water coming in this time. So much water.
Oh, it went all the way up here.
Alright, well, hopefully you got a better view at that time. We did that one just for fun.
Did you follow?
I just wanted to share that because, you know, I think that's been one of the bigger complaints, at least for me, about Nautique. Like, I love everything about this boat, but it would be nice if that didn't happen, because normally I like to be able to do exactly what I just did. Just keep the boat straight, go to neutral, and that's the best way to keep your waves, because essentially you can see waves going that way, and then there'll be waves going that way, but out in front, it minimizes what your waves are going that way. If you have to do any little turning, then it'll throw waves down your line. So anyways, that's it for now. Good morning. All right, so today is Saturday, our last day for this week. Next week's only a normal weekend. Like, I don't have Friday off or anything like that, so it'll be a quick little trip. I'm not entirely sure I'll make a video for that one. It just kind of depends on what I get up to and whether it's worth a video. I wanted to share a little piece of information. There's been quite a few things lately that I would have chosen to film, but you know, sometimes it has to do with like how much time I have, and other times I'm just not sure if it's going to be good content, so I just don't know if I should film or not. And sometimes I just jump in and I just think about filming later and it just doesn't work out. But a good example of that would be all the stuff I've done on this trailer. I probably should have filmed putting the new bunk carpet on. That probably would have made a decent video, because there's probably people out there that sometimes go on YouTube and say, how do I replace bunk carpet, you know? But I had a limited amount of time, so I just went ahead and worked on it instead of thinking about filming it. The other thing is putting those fenders on. You know, I probably should have filmed that too, but again, same thing, timing. The thing I did yesterday, and I mentioned this in my last video, that the brakes were not working on this trailer. So I actually, in the last 2 days actually, I decided I'm gonna see if I can figure it out. I noticed last weekend that the reservoir for the brake fluid, which is right here, if you pop this little cap off, you can see your fluid level. And actually, I'll just go ahead and pop that off to show you right now. So you can see there's fluid in there now. When I first popped that off last weekend, that was totally dry, which is not a good sign. If that reservoir is dry, that means you're probably getting air in the system, even from just the reservoir, because there's a little shock there, and you know, when the brakes are supposed to engage, it pushes the shock back and it pushes fluid back to the calipers. And if it's dry, it's probably pushing air back into the system. So that was already not a good sign. I knew the brakes weren't working, and the way that I could tell that they weren't working is the first drive with the boat. You could kind of look through, and if you look at the discs, they had rust and just kind of different dirt on them. If your brakes are being actively used, then unless it's been sitting for a while, and you've gotten water on them, whatever, they're going to be at least a little bit shiny, because they're getting, essentially it's like sandpaper rubbing on them, shining them up. So I could tell that none of them were engaging. So anyways, so yesterday I decided to start trying to bleed the brakes and trying to figure it out. It actually was 2 days ago. So I'm going to show you, if you look back here, you can see the two hoses taking fluid. There's your brake bleeder right there. So you just unscrew this nut, and typically it comes out the front of this, but I was actually getting it coming out the threads. But you need to open that up and apply pressure until fluid comes out there. So anyways, I started doing that on that one I just showed you. And I couldn't tell if I was doing it right. Messed around with it for a while, checked the other one, and I was able to get some fluid out, but only for a little bit, because then there's no more pressure. The next thing to figure out was how to apply pressure. And with surge brakes, it's like either you have to drive the vehicle back and forth to make this go in and out of here, because that's how it normally engages the brakes. That's how surge brakes works. When you hit your brakes on the truck, you know, it causes this to push back, and then it engages the brakes. In order to disengage, you go forward and it pulls it back out. So then I started trying to figure some stuff out. Now you literally can do that. To kind of, I actually ended up doing that later on after this next thing I'm going to show you, where I just like went back and forth to engage the brakes. But there's another way to do it. You can actually undo these bolts to get this plate out of here. They're pretty easy, just undo them and this whole thing comes loose. This stays on because this kind of holds it on, but it's loose. But you can get that plate all the way out of there, which keeps it from accidentally engaging. This is the safety brake. So if you somehow get disconnected from the trailer, it'll yank this and engage the brake so that the trailer's not slamming into the back of you. So anyways, I did that, and then I could take this and I could just kind of pump it forward and it would apply pressure back there. And then what I started doing is I went to each caliper one at a time and opened it up until I saw consistent fluid coming out. And there were some that kind of did some burping, and that's kind of what you expect, is you kind of expect to see air bubbles come out. But only one really did that clearly. The rest like did nothing until fluid started coming out clearly. And I think that's because the bleeder wasn't functioning correctly where it like lets it out the front of it. It was kind of more coming out of the threads on most of them. So I was like, well, it seems like I'm making some progress. So I kept doing that, and it seemed like everything was going great until I got to the front one on the port side, and it was totally dry. But by that point, I couldn't get it to pump anymore. So I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna, I had already spent probably 4 hours on all this because I was just messing around trying to figure it out. So by that point, I was like, all right, I'm gonna put it all back away, and I'll just go to the lake tomorrow, which was yesterday. And then maybe when I get back, because I will have driven it and they would have engaged this many times, that I'll be able to, essentially pump it back up, apply some more pressure, and it will have already applied pressure to that one caliper. So we got back yesterday, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna try it out. Open up that caliper on the front port side, and or driver's side, if you want to call it that. If you think about driver's side from the truck, driver's side from the boat is different. But open it up. Now it's coming out. So then I come back up here, undo this, and I start engaging this. And lo and behold, fluid starts coming out of that one. I'm like, all right, cool. I think it's working. So then I kind of keep pumping and letting some out, and then I start to check whether or not the brakes are functioning. So then I jacked up this side so the wheels are off the ground, and then I'll come up here, pump that up, keep engaging it, and literally just pushing this forward, that kind of pumps it up. I even did, I think at one point yesterday, I got the truck and I just backed up, went forward, and you just kind of go forward and then hit the brakes, and then come back and then hit the brakes, and it just engages and disengages. But anyways, I jacked it up to where the wheels are off the ground, and then I came up here and did some pumping, and then I went back and tried to spin the wheel, and they were actually engaging. So I was pretty pumped. I got the brakes working. So then I topped it off with fluid, because if there is any air in the system, even though it's all closed off now, as you move around, it can work the bubbles back up in here, and that's the point of the reservoir, is kind of gives us extra fluid. That way, if bubbles work their way back up, it'll just replace it with fluid. So that's why you don't want that to be dry, because if it's dry, it'll replace whatever comes up with air. And hopefully you just don't have a leak in your system that would cause it to go dry, and that would cause the brakes to fail. But I can't seem to find a leak. I kept on spilling when I'm pouring in here, which sucks, and there's even a drip right there. But as I'm pumping it up, I'm not seeing anything like actively leaking, so I think it's good to go. And the reservoir is still full from last night, or from yesterday and this morning. So anyways, so that was a victory. I got the brakes working. It was something that I was concerned about, that it might have taken in the shop, something like that. And I probably wouldn't do that till the end of the summer, but in the meantime, I would be running around not safe. The truck was handling the boat just fine without the trailer brakes, but the safety problem is where if I somehow come disconnected from the trailer, it doesn't engage the brakes. And then it's cruising down the road and smashes the back of us, maybe spins us out, whatever, you know, and there's lots of possibilities that can happen. The safety chain is so that it engages the brakes to become disconnected, and then it slows itself down. Anyways, I just wanted to share that. That's something that had I known what the outcome was going to be, had I known I was going to fix it, I probably would have filmed it. But because I didn't know, and it took me 2 days and a lot of work, you know, I didn't know. I didn't think I thought it could be a bunch of filming and extra work basically for nothing. So, but yeah, had I known, I would have filmed it. Now that I've done it, I think I could get all that done probably in an hour, maybe less. Hour to 2 hours would be all, just to bleed trailer brakes. That's if there's, you know, if there's no problem to get them working. For example, if there's no leak. So if it just got air in the system and all you gotta do is bleed it to make it work again, I think an hour to 2 hours. Now, if you had a leak somewhere, that could take any amount of time. You might have to replace hoses, you know, you might have to replace parts. But yeah, if you just got air in your system, you need to bleed the brakes to make it work. Probably only take me an hour to 2 hours. So anyways, I just wanted to share that. I thought it's something that I was very happy about. Like I said, I would have filmed it if I'd have known. But hopefully that helps some people out there. But I will say this, I did, to figure out how to bleed brakes on a surge brake trailer, I did YouTube it and found a few videos that at least set me on my path. So there are videos out there. All right, we're gonna pack up and get to the lake now. All right, forgot to film an outro again, but that's mostly due to the fact that right after that last clip, we went to go to the lake and it was really windy, so we decided not to launch. So it was the end of the trip, but didn't know it was the end of the trip. Otherwise, I probably would have filmed an outro. But anyways, yeah, so we had a good couple days at the lake and got a few things figured out. I'm still monitoring those brakes to see if there might be a leak somewhere. So I guess I'll update you if I find out different. Otherwise, they're working. But yeah, that's it for this video. So thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you have any thoughts on this video or ideas for future videos, please leave those in the comments down below. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe and click on that notifications bell so you can be notified of my future videos. I'll see you next week.